Hey, what's up, YouTube? So we're back here. We've got another truck we picked up. We picked this truck up at Copart. From here, it actually looks pretty good. It's a 2001 Crew Cab, 4-wheel drive. It's got some big old 17s on there, 33s. They're about brand new. But as we get looking a little bit closer, you can see why I got this thing so cheap. This is a rollover. Well, you can see that. I actually took and jacked that up quite a ways. You can see how low the door is here. The roof was that low, but it was kind of hard to get in there and work on it and try to get it running. So I jacked up the roof line, took that windshield off there, took the mirror, what was left of it, off of there. You know, it's got a salvage tile, so I can't do anything with the cab anyway. This is what I was after. It's another 7.3. Since I found a crack in the block of my work truck, I had to put my spare motor in there. The spare motor was supposed to go in my personal truck. I need to get it changed out, so I went looking and I found this truck here. Bid on it, won the bid, went up there and got it, hauled it home with my hotshot rig. The other nice thing it has is big old bumper on there. I know these things are pretty expensive, and I was looking at buying one from my truck. I hate all the weight that's gonna be on the front of that truck with that bumper, but then again, all it takes is one deer to put you out of business. So I think I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to put that bumper on my work truck. I'm gonna pull it off here shortly and weigh it. I assume this thing sat upside down for a while, because when I started it up, I had a lot of oil smoke, and if you can see here on this tire, that's where oil is dripping down out of the air intake. So what it did, it must have been upside down. The thing was 2 gallons low on oil, and you know, I didn't know if, hey, just some idiot was driving, didn't realize he had, you know, if it had a bad oil leak. My other truck leaks that bad, so I'll be driving down the road and have to stop, put a gallon and a half of oil in it, because the thing will just stop running when there's not enough to run the injectors. That's why I need to change that motor out. But this is a 2001. It's actually, by the serial number, it's about a 2000 and a half, which means it should have the forged rods. This is after they did a test run of the powder coated rods, and then they used up the rest of the forged rods, and then they went to the powder coated rods after that. So this engine is supposed to have the forged rods. It has the you know, the newer turbo, the 3-inch intake, and not the 2-inch intakes into the heads. Air heater, got some nice running boards there, and also doesn't have something down there. My neighbor made the comment how good this thing sounded. I didn't realize it didn't have a muffler on it, but he sure liked the way the turbo sounded. So anyway, what I wanted to do is I want to start this thing up and see what we got for smoke, just to make sure that you know, that the smoke is just the oil from this thing sitting upside down, and oil getting into the air intake. So I'm gonna set the camera up here, and let's see what we see here. Let me see if that's looking at that exhaust pipe. Yeah, it is. Let's see what we can see. thing also has a tuner on it. Not a tuner, but a 6-position shift. So I'm going to stick it on the high idle. When I put on high idle yesterday, before I took it out and drove around the yard for a while, the thing would smoke real bad. So I'm going to put it back on that high idle and see what it does. All right, well that's one confirmation. That's one test that I wanted to do, just to make sure that that oil smoke I had wasn't because there was some major problem inside the engine. It was just because the thing sat upside down and oil got into the intake, and it's probably all in the intercooler. I'm gonna have to take and clean all that out. Now here's the funny part. Okay, so this is the 2001. I've got a salvage title for it. When I look at my data plate here, I see manufacture date of 11/98, and look at the rating, 11.2. They didn't make any single rear wheel with 11.2. This is a dually cab. This is a early 99, and if you can look at this here also, 32 instead of the 31. Well, that and the WW. So this was a early 99, and see the axle 61. That's the 411 axle. This thing has a 373 front and back. So somebody has done a cab swap on it once before. So here's what I'm going to do. My daily driver, if you want to call it that, is this early 99 with utility body, and I added my own lift gate to it, which I bought. It was new, but I bought it at auction for about half price. So and this truck is pretty rough. I'm gonna put the fenders on it from there. But this thing smokes real bad. It leaks oil from the dipstick tube, and you've got to pull the pan off to do that. To put the pan on properly, it needs to be upside down. It's just, you can do all, I mean, you know, you're gonna have to pull the engine, so I might as well put another engine in it and start with something that's a little better. Here, of course, it looks pretty bad up here, and they had a pipe rack up here originally. I cut these off a while back when I had this thing in the garage, and to lift this thing up off of there, it wouldn't clear my door. After I had it on this bed on the trailer, I couldn't pull it out of the garage. I had to cut those, but I didn't need that anyway. But so what I'm going to do, this lumber I bought today, picked it up, and I'm going to make a frame 12 foot high to take and pull the cab off of this truck here. And while I've got the cab off, I'm going to go in and look at the injectors. I've got one that's failing a buzz test, so it's either a bad injector or you know, it could be the wiring to it. And of course I can ohm that out before I get into that. But my plan is to take the cab off of this truck here, check everything out. I'm gonna pull the bed off and go in and do the modifications in the fuel tank, and what they call the hutch and harpoon mods. I really love my utility body, and I mean I can swap them back and forth at will. It's, you know, it's only a couple of bolts and some wires. I mean it is a lot of work, but it's certainly doable. But basically I'm gonna put this cab on this frame, and I won't have to touch the transmission, drive line, the engine. I won't have to touch any of that. Basically just lifting a cab and putting a different cab back on it. This truck is lifted. Basically comparing the height of this truck to my hotshot truck, it's about 3.5 inch different, taller. This has 33s on it, so that makes it a little bit taller there. So I don't know if they make a 3-inch lift. It's hard to tell just what they've done. I've never lifted a truck. I don't know. So, but anyway, I'm glad my little test. I wanted to wait till this thing cooled down from yesterday and see what it would do. You know, there's a lot of parts inside of here. The dash don't look bad. There's no cracks or anything like that, so I will certainly save that. I don't know about that stereo. I mean, it works, but and then of course, well, this is a Lariat. Mine is a XL, so I've got to figure out how to move the electric windows and stuff over. So I have, you know, electric windows and electric locks between this truck and my red truck. I've got plenty of parts that I can turn that other truck into a Lariat, basically. So, but that's where I'm at. See, I'm gonna pull that bumper off and then get this truck out of here, and I'm gonna start working on I'm making a frame to pull the cab. So I'll catch y'all later. All right, well, you've got everything loose. Got it chained up here. It's truck's pulled in a little bit more than what it needs to be. That's just keep this thing from being able to jump out on me. I just got one bolt on each side that's held on with well, there's no nuts on it. It's just behind the place. I'm gonna back this truck up a little bit and I can let down. So there it is. It's I don't know how much it weighs. I'm fixing to, I don't know if I can get it on my bathroom scale and check it out, see what that thing weighs. But kind of want to know. But I may just go ahead and pull my other truck in here and stick it on there. Like I said, I've been wanting to buy one. You know, here in Georgia, there's deer everywhere, so certainly save the front of your truck. Alright, try it again. Take the weight off. Put back on it. I don't think that did any good. Once again. Okay. Put the weight off. This basically should be half the weight. Okay, 128 pounds. That's about 256, give or take. So what I did, I've got a block of wood up underneath there under the other side. Block of wood up underneath that side. Only place where it's touching there, the other end. And then this right here, it is pretty close to the end. I mean, it's off by a little bit. Ideally, you'd read it all the way at the very end, but it doesn't want to sit still over there. So I think I'm good. I've got about 300 pounds to play with as far as what's available on my front axle of the truck, but I will be taking the other bumper off, and some of the other lower grill components is coming off, so it should be fine. Well, that's gonna be pretty doggone different. So I'm gonna pull the bumper off, and I have to pull the tow hooks off, and then I'll see if I can get a weight of that bumper, just so I kind of know, but I know it's pretty heavy. And I'm gonna put it on there, see what it looks like. Hi, so this morning I got a couple things I need to do before I start yanking this cab off this truck. I had a problem with the when I did the buzz tested injectors, one sounded like it wasn't working, so I want to do it again. So I've got to connect up here to my truck. This is Auto Ingenuity, which is something that you can use to on these 7.3s. The 7.3s used a heavy truck protocol for communication, so you can't use just anything to communicate and do tests on them. So first thing it's going to ask me if I want to look at any of the error codes, stuff like that. I'll go ahead and pull it up. It's a bunch of stuff will pull up, I'm sure. Let's see what it says. I'm just gonna look at the current. Okay, no diagnostics. There's some old ones that's in there. I mean, the truck's been wrecked. I mean, there's lots of things that's not working in it. So I'm gonna go to special function, and what I want to do is injector buzz test. Alright, now when I initiate this, what it's going to do is all of the injectors are going to buzz together, and that's what it says. All injectors together, and each injector in numerical sequence 1 through 8. So you count them starting after the first one. So you'll hear all of them go, and then you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 that I had a problem on. So I'm going to run this again. I've got all my fans and everything shut off, so we can hear real good here. So let's see what it does. All right, well, that was all 8. So whatever problem I had the other day, it's been taken care of. It may just be that the thing was stuck. There is a problem that they call stiction, where you get oil, you have gummy oil that's between the solenoid and the little plate that comes up there. It can actually make them stick down where they don't pull. But that's good. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the truck up, and I'm gonna do a cylinder contribution test. And I know it's cold, but I want to see what this thing does with cold, and do it, because when I start taking this cab off, there's gonna be no more running this engine until everything's installed with the other cab and everything. So I want to know before I take this thing apart, can't run it no more. I just wanted to get these tests done, just have an idea of where I'm at before I get in too deep, because once I start getting this thing in the other truck, then I'm down a personal truck until I get this thing, until I get it running.
So that number 8 is a real common one to pop up. You pretty much ignore that one. I don't, from what I've read, or seen online. So I'm not going to worry about that. So basically, looks to me like I'm good to go to just start ripping this thing apart. Alright, so here's the game plan. Drove this thing outside here, and to facilitate swapping this cab out, and the fact that I want to reuse all these interior pieces, this is a pretty nice wood grain, simulated wood grain, whatever you want to call it. My other truck doesn't have electric windows, so I would need all this anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out, I'll pull all the doors off, which will lighten up the load a little bit, and I'm gonna pull all the seats out. The carpet can come out. You got to get the cab out, you got to roll the carpet back anyway. So the seats, they're not in the greatest of shape, but I have some pretty good seats in that red truck. They're not the leather like these are, but at least they're in better shape. So, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But I'm gonna pull them out. Get all that stuff out of there, and I have this trailer I bought from an air conditioning company at auction. It had 3 of these bars in there. I think I can use this spreader bar to pick the cab up. So I was going to make like 2 pieces, two separate winch points. That's what I bought, the amount of wood I bought for it. So I've got some 12 footers, so I wanted to go 12 feet high. I think I'm going to take and we use like a 4-foot base, have 2 12-footers go up and meet at the top, and I can use 2 4x4s going across the top. One's probably enough, but I'll probably use 2. I can hang my hoist from that, and when I go to pick it up, I'll just have to move forward or back, whatever, find the spot where the sweet spot where it's fairly level, and go from there. So I'm going to try to figure out how to set this for a time lapse where y'all ain't gonna sit there and watch an hour of me zipping around real fast. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to speed it up, and then because this is certainly gonna be boring, me trying to find all the tools every time I need something different. That really slows down the video, so hang on now. I want y'all to look at this trailer. This is a 30-foot hotshot trailer. Pretty much, except for like this wood. Everything that's on this trailer come out of this truck. It's amazing how much stuff is inside this truck. The mirrors are garbage, obviously. They didn't survive the rollover. That rim is from some trailer. There's the doors. They're pretty heavy. There's 300 or 400 pounds right there off the weight of pulling that cab off. But I decided to do things a little bit different. I've realized since this thing was rolled over, there was no sense in trying to save anything, and why deal with the hassle of all that extra weight? I just took a porta band and cut off the 6 posts. So I'm left with a Georgia redneck convertible. It's interesting. I've never seen this before. I'm not sure where they got this, but this is a I assume that since he's running a straight pipe, they wanted to quiet it down inside, and so they put that on there. I guess that was easier than putting a muffler on a truck. So, well, I just realized the ashtray is different. I didn't open that ashtray. So yeah, I've got everything out of this truck. I'm not leaving nothing for the scrap man. He's going to get some metal, and that's about it. So I still have to, I'm not sure where, exactly how I'm going to finish this off, but my hoist is up here towards the front of my garage.
I can get it, I can move it further back. I can hoist it off like this, I guess. Maybe that's what I'll go ahead and do. Now that I'm thinking about it, instead of, I was going to cut it out in pieces, but it's a lot easier to cut it with a cutting torch, and I don't want to cut it with a cutting torch and not knowing what's underneath it. So I guess I'll just move my chain hoist, and because you all can see up there, there's a big beam I made out of, I think that's two 2x10s sistered together, and I've hoist up, well, the engine obviously, nearly 1,000 pounds, and I've lifted my tractor 3,000 pounds. I've lifted it completely in the air off of it with no problem. So it's right now, it runs and drives. I drove it in here sitting on a bucket. It was pretty interesting. Got a lot of stuff to get disconnected. I was going to take, and I wasn't sure. I got a late start today. It's already 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I had other things I needed to do, and I got to get the radiator drained and start disconnecting other things. So I'm gonna work on that a little bit today. Maybe I'll get the cab off tonight. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to kill myself. I was out here pretty late yesterday. The camera was sitting in the sun, and I was doing a time lapse. I heard the thing beep a couple times. I was like, doggone it. I had it charging and in the sun, and those two together means it's gonna shut off. So anyway, let me get this thing moved out a little bit and see if I can't get something going here. Hi, here's where I left off yesterday. Got most of the front off of this thing. Didn't get any oil out of the intercooler, but you can see, so this is the side that is, I believe this is after the intercooler. So this thing was sitting upside down. Yeah, I'm just not sure. This thing had lost like 2 quarts of oil. No, 2 gallons of oil. What am I saying? 2 gallons of oil, and I blew out a lot. After I got it running, I burned that oil off, and it doesn't smoke anymore. So I'm just not sure. I assume that since this is the side after the intercooler, I don't know if it came back from the engine coming this way, but I didn't get anything dripping out of the intercooler. I do have 2 more intercoolers I can use. I'll probably just use one of those. Just make sure that it's not plugged up with oil. I've got to get the radiator out. I've got the coolant drained and everything, but I still have the transmission lines to disconnect. Got a leak here. That's gonna have to be fixed. Well, I've got all this apart, so I guess I can get that radiator out. I gotta get the transmission coolant lines, because it goes through the radiator and through this, which is the way I do it in my work truck. At some point I may put one of those aftermarket 6.0 coolers on there. Anyway, I gotta get that thing disconnected, get the radiator out of there. I get the shroud out of there, and I won't have to pull the fan. I'm just gonna leave the fan there. There's no reason to mess with it. I'm gonna once you pull the radiator, then lift the cab off of it. It's like I said, there's no sense in messing with it. If it works, it works. If it don't, I've got 2 more I can swap it out with. So. And then the other thing I was kind of worried about, so I don't know how they lifted this thing. I don't know what all this is. This looks a little bit of homemade welding here. I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure what's holding the front end on this truck. Well, there's a bolt coming up through the bottom. It didn't have the hooks in here, yet there's holes for it on the other side, right here. So you can see the way this thing is sitting. I'm thinking that if I go take the hooks off my red truck and put on here, that'll secure that a lot better. Whoever lifted this truck, it may have been a bit of a fly-by-night. This one here is close. This one here seems like it's all flush.
and I could put those hooks in there, and that would give it a lot more support. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna put this thing on time lapse, and it won't be in the sun, so you can catch me zipping around back and forth and trying to get this thing apart. Alright, it's the moment of truth. I believe I got everything disconnected. Y'all put in the comments what you think I forgot. A little unorthodox here. I don't know how good this is going to work out. I didn't want to disconnect the brake systems, everything, so I've got that brake, the master cylinder, everything pulled over on top of the engine. Got the ABS unit. It's sitting on a block of wood I clamped to the frame. And I don't know where the center weight is. So I figure that the nose is, with that dash is the heavy part compared to back here. Right now I don't have any real tension on these right here, so I may have to throw some weight in the back if this thing is just too nose heavy. I want to save these fenders because I want to use them in my other truck. So and then the supports. See, I've got another truck out there that needs the front, the nose, which I would have to cut the welds and weld these inner pieces back on there. I've got fenders and everything I'll put on it. They're painted black, but I mean, so I want to save all this. If I grab anything, the weight it's just going to twist and bend metal. So I just don't want to take a chance. So I'm going to set y'all up and see what we can see. Figure out how to get y'all where I can tell what y'all are seeing here. I don't have much room to do this. Get this camera set up. Let's try it like this. I don't know what y'all be able to see. I can always edit it out. Well, so far so good. Looks like everything's kind of twisting a little bit, but so that's one thing I forgot. I remember now because I couldn't see the release on this connector on the front side of this ABS controller. It's got a crazy locking system here. Guess you gotta grit your teeth just right to get it off. I've done one once before, I just didn't remember how. So that was one thing. I caught it before it got tight. Let's keep on going here. Crazy. Probably have to redo my chains. Rode up the back of the motor, it's pulling forward, I mean. Back down on this beam right here. should have moved the winch back. Oh, well. Hi, well, I knocked the camera over. The problem I'm having is that it is heavy in the butt, and because of that, it's actually pulled forward, so it rides up on the back of the engine, and if I set it down, it's going to be sitting on the turbo, which I'm not going to have that. So what I'm going to do is take some of these ratchet straps and hook on these door posts, the door latches, and just start working the back end up. Not sure if that's high enough from that end, but I have to get it level. I may have to sit down this beam and get another shot on it, but yeah, cause it's not high enough there. But if the back comes up, it may make a difference. But I'm gonna have to shorten the chain up a little bit to be able to do this. So let me get to it. All right, well, that's a chore. Oh, and that's definitely going to be some up pipes. I'm gonna have to order me some up pipes before I can put this thing back together. I thought I was gonna have it together this week, but I'm not buying those cheapo ones. I'll put some on my other truck, and I'm definitely got to do something about that. Well, I guess get the tractor out and drag this thing around somewhere, figure out what I'm going to do with it. What I want to do is I want to lower this cab back down and take the dash out of it, take the wiring harness out of it, fenders off of it, basically strip it, get these running boards off of here, and that'll keep me busy for a couple days while I wait for these up pipes. So that's not going to stay like that. I'm not going to be satisfied with that, and I won't be it. That's just going to raise your EGTs. So, all right, I'll catch y'all later.